Hi there, this is Ellen from the Charles and Ellen Academy, and today I'm back with a stitch and chat with me, though I'm actually not going to be embroidering in this one. I thought it's been quite a while since I did a transfer video, and I need to transfer the upcoming pattern. So I thought, you know what? I'll just do that in real time and chat along with you. So if you happen to have a pattern that you need to transfer, or if you just have your stitch project, pick that up and let's start chatting. A lot of people through the past, well, it's been soon a decade now, almost a decade that I've been working professionally with my embroidery. I realized that a lot of people do not use carbon paper when they transfer. I adore carbon paper. I really do. It became a natural transition for me to use carbon paper in my embroidery work as I come from a drawing and illustration background. So this is actually a printing carbon paper. It's not even fabric carbon paper, which is funny. I did try with fabric carbon papers in the past, but I just really enjoy the weight, the thinness of this. This particular one is called Pelican. It's black. I got it off of Amazon. And yeah, I'll just first show you the materials and get going so that I don't chat too much in the introduction. This is the pattern that I'm going to transfer. I drew this out by hand. I draw all of our designs in the Charles and Ellen shop, charlesandellen.com. You can find all of our embroidery patterns, or I say all. I really need to update it. I've got like a dozen of more designs to add there, but I'll put the link below so that you can browse some patterns in case you are inspired to also embroider a place from Europe. It's especially European designs, but there are some US thrown in there as well, and I'll definitely have to expand. This is it's a street scene from Munich in Germany. One of my best friends, she lives there, and I asked her to take some photographs on the streets and send them to me just to have a little bit of external inspiration. And this is just a regular residential area, and this angle and the architectural structure really caught my interest because I found the extension they've built here really, really interesting. So I drew this out first with pencil, then over with ink. I've then done a photocopy and I'm ready to transfer it. My husband just bought this fabric. It's a linen fabric. Most of the time I embroider on cotton or a cotton linen blend. This is linen, and I just thought, you know what? I'm really excited to try. The most important is that it's non-stretch and non-see-through, and it's pretty smooth surface, so that makes it easier to do the architectural designs. By the way, we've got way more resources in the charlesandellenacademy.com, so I'll put the link to that below as well in case you're curious to learn more. I place the carbon downwards, somewhere in the middle. I've cut out my piece of fabric, by the way, to fit the hoop size that I'm going to use. And the hoop, I chose that based on the size of the design. So everything goes together. In this way, I don't have to move around the hoop once I start embroidering. I place the carbon downwards. Normally, I would use a little scotch to attach it, you know, if you do it properly, but hey, mom of two kids here. I went up to just film this together and I forgot the scotch downstairs, and I do not want to break the harmony downstairs. So I'm not going to go down. At least I will not be interrupted. So most of the time, if you put scotch to attach your design and the carbon paper, it's really in case you need to take a break during the transfer. You know that it's not going to move around, but I know I'm going to do this from start to finish in one sitting, so that'll be fine. I place my drawing, make sure that the drawing or the pattern is right on top of it. And I'm going to, I think, actually I've got a heavy book here, so I'll just place that in a way so that as I move along, I'll place it up here. As I move along, the paper will stay in place. I hope that doesn't distort the view too much. Yeah, voila, that seems great. I make sure that it's placed somewhat in the middle so that I got enough fabric all around the hoop once I put that in place. I'm going to use this ink pen. It's actually from Muji. The size, I'm trying to use quite sharp to make smooth lines. Another thing that I forgot, by the way, is a ruler. I don't have one up here. So I'll just use my pen as my ruler in case I feel that I need one. Yeah, I'm all about improvising, really. Take what you have, keep it fun, and let's not sweat too much. So I'm going to start transferring. One big thing when transferring with carbon paper, which is what I share in the tutorial about it as well, is to try to be decisive in your lines as you go along. You don't want to draw a lot of lines like up and down, up and down, up and down in the same place, because then you risk smudging the carbon. You really want to put pressure in one place and do one confident line. So I'm just going to hold the paper here to just confirm that this transferred well, and it sure did. Now, I've done this a lot of times. I don't know if I could say thousands of times, but sure, several hundreds of times. Just in the pattern shop, we've got over 100 different designs, and I haven't even put a fraction of everything that I've done there. So yeah, I'm probably hitting over 1,000 transfers at this point. Now I'm transferring the lines actually relatively close. Many times I recommend to not do lines too close to each other, purely because that also leaves space to improvise a bit. But as this is a pattern that I will be selling, it will be part of the pattern program, which, by the way, gives you a new design every single month at a discounted deal compared to getting it in the shop. So then I don't want to go too out of my design, because I think that would make things a little bit confusing. So I leave the wild stitching for my thread sketching work. By the way, thread sketching is just the most amazing thing. It's really like, I feel as though it's like using a needle and floss for, okay, that line was not perfectly straight, but that's okay. Just do it like this. Needle and floss as if it was a pen and ink. I think I will actually just keep going without my pencil fake ruler, made up ruler. It will allow me to go a little bit quicker. I'll hold the design to just double check that this is still going well. Yep, this is still going well. So if you are checking, now I'm checking primarily because I'm filming this and I want to make sure that I don't do the entire thing and then flop it before the final flip over. But if you do want to check multiple times, that is one reason. Another reason to use Scotch to secure it in place, just to avoid anything moving in between lifting it up, right? So why do I love carbon paper so much? Well, loving drawing, I feel as though when you use carbon paper, and this is what I tell my students as well, when you use carbon paper to redraw the design in this way, it allows you to get to know the lines more intimately. It allows you to better understand how the lines connect, what direction they are, like what direction is natural for me to draw as I transfer. That gives me an indication as to what direction I will want to stitch my line. So I'm doing a lot of, if you know my work, I'm doing a lot of graphical work. And a major part of doing graphical work is understanding the impact of a line, the perspective, the angle, the proximity between lines. It's an entire topic on its own, just how a line is. And I'm bringing that theory over into the embroidery world, which is why many times I refer to these embroideries as touchable drawings, because I'm thinking about it in my mind. I go into it kind of like, how would I draw this? And going over the drawing, so the pattern, with carbon paper in this way, it's as if I redraw the entire thing. I redraw the entire thing. I get to know the drawing on a more intimate level. Technically, I've drawn this now. This is the third time, because the first time was with a pencil, the second time with the ink, to just solidify the lines, and now the third time with the transfer. So another thing that I didn't say in the beginning, just when doing a quick run over the materials, is that I love to use a colored ink pen for when I'm transferring. That is because it allows me to just keep track of which lines I've already transferred and which lines are left to transfer. It's not more complicated than that. You can see now, even in the camera, you can see the green lines I transferred. Where there are no green lines, I didn't transfer. Should we just have a quick look again? I'm holding it tightly here. Yep. Still looking good. And so you saw that I did, by the way, I did the building, the structure, the architectural structure first, before I do the transfer of the tree in front. This is another thing equal in the actual embroidery process. Always stitch, just like you would in painting or drawing, always draw and stitch what's the furthest away from you in order to build natural depth. And then you can always layer on top. So why I say this is the same as in painting is because floss is very covering, right? When you embroider, you're not going to see what's underneath. And it's the same as if you would use, let's say, acrylic paint. So a big part of understanding how you can creatively use embroidery to realize your own creative visions is in understanding the medium, how it operates. So one such thing is just recognizing how covering it is, right? So like if we would say oil painting, oil, the properties of oil, well, it allows you to make multiple layers on top of each other, and you can still see the layers from before underneath, which is why you'd like to do so many layers, whereas acrylic painting is completely different. If we transfer that to embroidery, well, if you start making a lot of layers, what's going to happen is you're going to create a lot of volume, right? And this is maybe something you want. Maybe you want to add 3D elements. Maybe you want to add a lot of volume to the design you're making. Maybe you want trees or bushes, or, you know, even if it's an abstract piece, you maybe want a part of that to really pop out. Well, go ahead, start layering, start doing those layers, even with thick floss, and you can really have fun with that. It's about recognizing first, obviously, what you want, and secondly, what are qualities and properties that you would need to consider in order to achieve that result. Well, I'm trying to be really decisive here with my lines. If I don't transfer it perfectly exactly where the previous line is, I'm okay with that. So that is part of what I call the natural variation. Really, this is what will add a personal touch, because no transfer, even if we are, like, let's say hypothetically, you are in my pattern program and you are transferring this design as well. your transfer is not going to look identical to mine, and it's not going to look identical to anybody else's either. And I think that is such a beautiful thing. That is also yet another thing I enjoy about using carbon paper, because of its imperfectness. No, that's not a word in English. For it being imperfect, in the sense it allows for these natural variations to occur, and just embracing how we do things slightly differently. Some lines are going to be a little bit quirky. That's really cool. That just shows that this is handmade, and that is the beauty of it. So let's see, I'm going to try to move my position a little bit. Normally, if I wasn't filming, I would probably flip this around, because I find it much easier to draw lines vertically than horizontally. But if I start flipping things around, it will probably be very disturbing for the video. So I'll do my best here. Again, if it isn't perfect, that's okay. Even me, it's been a huge learning process spanning over several years, in just allowing myself these imperfections. Art is such a reflection of even who we are as people, and someone who likes to do things well and likes to achieve good results, and just the process of letting go of things not necessarily being perfect or looking a certain way is a practice in itself. But once we've reached that stage, and I think embroidery is a wonderful way to practice that, a wonderful art form to practice that, it's so liberating. It's so liberating. Art is supposed to regenerate us. It's supposed to be fun, not just another stressor in life that has to be perfect, right? There's enough of that. There's enough of that shit already. So yeah, that's what's on my mind a lot lately, actually. Just allowing myself to be like my embroidery, imperfectly perfect. And yeah, I'm loving it. So I think these are the last lines. My gosh, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. No, here is one that I didn't do, because I did this relatively fast now, as I didn't want to drag out the video too much. Let's see. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Let's move it. There's no turning back now. I've moved the paper. Flip over and flip over. Ta-da! Voila! I'm looking in the video, and I think it turned out fantastic. Actually, I'm really pleased. So I put the inner part of the hoop underneath, and I put the other one on top. Oop. I'll need to open that up a little bit. And there we go. There we go. Tightening it up, stretching it out. So this is why I wanted a non-stretchy fabric, so that I can tighten it up without it distorting the design. And I'm ready to pop this into my backpack, because we're going for an excursion with the kids today. I'll be bringing this along, and I'll be making some stitches at the playground, and that will make kids happy and mommy happy, and what else can you ask for? So if you are interested to learn more, have me as your teacher, go check out the Charles and Ellen Academy. I'll put the link below. We've got both free and paid resources there, to help you grow into a confident, creative stitching, having fun, really. And designs, I'll put the link for patterns there as well. This particular one is going for the pattern program first, before going into the unique design shop. So yeah, thank you so much for following along, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.